Welcome to Class 17. 16 classes in, you've done the hard part. The accounts, the projects, the foundation block, your profile, your 3 jobs. The machine knows who you are now. So today I'm going to change what you ask it for. Because most people, most agents in this country, use AI as a typist. Write me an email, write me a post, and it will. But if that's all you ever ask for, you're leaving almost all of the value sitting on the table. Today is about using it the way the most productive people use it, as a business partner that thinks with you before it types for you. But first, you owe me from last week. I asked every one of you to make it know you, the project, the foundation block, and your personal profile dictated in one pass. And I gave you the 60-second test. Ask it to tell you 2 things it knows about you and your business. So put it in the chat right now. Did it pass? Give me one of the 2 things it said about you. And if you didn't get it done, say that instead. I'd rather know. This matters today more than it did last week, because everything we're about to do works 10 times better when it already knows who you are. That was the whole point. Now, here's how almost everybody has been using this thing. And I know because I see the same requests you do. Write me an email to my seller. Write me a Facebook post. Write me a listing description for this house. And listen, there is nothing wrong with any of those. They work. They save you 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. But I want you to notice something. Writing was never the hard part of this business. You already knew how to write that email. What's hard is knowing whether that email should be sent at all. Think about the last message you genuinely agonized over. The words were never the problem. The decision was, do I push back on the appraisal? Do I bring up price now or after the weekend open house? Do I tell my seller the truth about her carpet? Those are the questions that keep you up at night, and not one of them is a writing problem. When your first ask is write me, you're using a business partner as a typist. It'll do it. It just wastes what it's actually good at. Here's the problem with write me as your opening move, and there are 4 pieces to it. 1. It does work you already knew how to do. That's a convenience. It's not an edge. 2. It answers exactly the question you asked and nothing else. Ask for a price reduction email, and it will not stop to ask whether price is actually the problem. 3. A well-written message on top of a wrong diagnosis is still wrong. It's just wrong with better grammar. And 4. The money in this business has never been in the typing. It's in the judgment, getting the listing, reading the buyer, handling the hard conversation nobody wants to have. That's the part where you want a second brain. And that's exactly the part most agents never ask for help with. And here's the kicker. The thinking help is sitting right there in the same box. Same subscription, same app, same conversation you already have open. You don't have to buy anything or learn anything new today. You just have to change the first sentence you type. So here are the questions that change everything, and I want you to hear how different they sound. What am I missing? What assumptions am I making that I haven't checked? Why might this customer say no? What patterns do you see in this that I don't? Challenge my plan. Tell me where it's weak. And my favorite, before you give me any advice, ask me the questions you need answered. Notice what those have in common. Not one of them asks it to produce anything. Every single one asks it to think about your situation with your facts. That's the shift. That's the whole class right there. And I know some of you are thinking, I've been doing this 20, 30 years. I don't need a computer challenging my plan. That experience is exactly why this works. A sparring partner is only useful to somebody who already knows how to fight. The sharper your judgment is, the more one of these conversations gives you. Let's make this real, because this stays theoretical until it's standing in a house you can picture. Here's our patient for the rest of the class, and I want to build the case board 1 panel at a time. Panel 1, the facts. 82 days on the market. Started at 325, reduced twice, sitting at 299. Panel 2, the showings. 11 of them, 11 polite pieces of feedback, and not one offer. Panel 3, the competition. 2 comparable listings in the same neighborhood went under contract in the last 3 weeks. This one didn't. And panel 4, the seller. She's frustrated. She does not want to hear about another price cut. She thinks the marketing is the problem, and she started saying the words every listing agent dreads. Maybe we need a different approach. And here's the honest part. The agent doesn't actually know what's wrong. Price? Condition? Photos? How it shows. At day 82, guessing again is expensive. Every one of you has had this listing. Some of you have it right now. And before anybody asks, the numbers in this story are made up, but the situation is not. I have sat across the kitchen table from this seller more times than I can count. That's exactly why I picked it. Now, What does the average agent ask AI for at day 82? Write my seller a price reduction email. And it will. Instantly, politely, professionally, persuasive, even. And it might be exactly the wrong move. Because if the real problem is the 2 rooms every buyer walks out talking about, that beautifully written email just spent your seller's trust cutting the price, and the house still won't sell. That's the trap. AI made it easy to produce the wrong thing faster. Symptoms and root causes are different problems, and a price reduction is almost always treatment for a symptom. So here's what we do instead. This is Demo 1. You take everything you actually have, the 11 pieces of showing feedback, word for word, the price history, and the 3 competing listings with their days on market, and you paste all of it in. Raw. Don't clean it up. Then comes the ask, and the ask matters. You are my listing strategist. Here is every piece of feedback from 11 showings, the price history, and the competition. Identify repeated objections, contradictions, and anything my seller may not be hearing. Do not write anything for the seller yet. That last line is the discipline. That's what holds it in analysis mode. And understand what just happened. It has now read all 11 comments at once. Which, be honest, you never have. You read them one at a time, a week apart, on your phone in a parking lot. One more thing while we're here. Remember the profile work from last week? This is where it pays off. Because it already knows your market, your style, and how you run your business. The read it gives you on that feedback comes back in your world, not some generic national magazine version of real estate. And here's the kind of thing that comes back from exactly this exercise. Watch what happens to those 11 comments when something finally reads them all at once. 7 of the 11 land in the same pile, condition. The kitchen and the primary bath, over and over, in different words. For different buyers said some version of great house, and finished that sentence the same way. And price? Price only shows up 3 times, and 2 of those actually called it fair. 3 piles. One of them towers over the other 2, and it is not the pile those 2 price reductions were treating. So what does that mean? 3 things. First, the feedback contradicts the price story. Buyers are not saying it's overpriced. They're saying it's dated. Those are different problems with different fixes. Second, the line that earns the whole exercise. Your seller has heard each comment one at a time, but she has never once heard them as a pattern. Nobody has said out loud, 11 buyers, 1 objection. Third, is that analysis perfect? No, it's a starting point, and you still know things it doesn't. Maybe you know that buyer number 7's agent mentions the bathrooms on every house she shows. Fine, tell it that, and watch the analysis sharpen. It's a conversation, not an oracle. But day 82, and now, you know what conversation you actually need to have. And it is not a price email. Let's widen this out, because the stale listing is one scenario, and this way of working covers your whole business. 6 roles it can play, and we'll number them as we go. Role number 1, coach. Try this one, exactly as written. I've lost 3 listing appointments in a row. Ask me questions, one at a time, until you find what I might be doing wrong. And it will interview you. Properly. What did each seller say at the end? Who did they hire instead? Where in the appointment did the energy change? 10 questions in. You will hear the problem yourself, usually before it says a word about it. And notice the difference between that and asking for tips on listing appointments. Tips are generic. They're written for every agent in America. An interview is about you. Role number 2, analyst. That's Demo 1. 6 months of anything. Showing comments, call logs, closed files. Identify repeated objections, contradictions, and anything I may not be seeing. Patterns are its native language. It finds in 90 seconds what you would never find scrolling. Role number 3, negotiator. The inspection response comes in ugly. Before you forward anything to anybody, try this. Here is the inspection request and the seller's response. Help me find a reasonable path that protects this transaction. Then play the other side. What does the buyer's agent say next? Now you walk into that phone call having already had it once. Role number 4, teacher. This one is for the nervous first-time buyer calling at 9 o'clock at night. Explain this paragraph of the contract in plain language a first-time buyer can understand. Do not give legal advice. Stick to what the paragraph says. You stay the professional. It hands you the plain English version. 1 guardrail on the teacher role, because we stay in our lane at this office. Plain language explanation, yes. Legal advice, never. If the question actually needs an attorney, the answer is an attorney, and it will even tell you when you've reached that line. Those 2 roles alone. rehearsing the negotiation and translating the contract will pay for the whole subscription by themselves. Role number 5, and this is the one that stings. Critic. Take your listing presentation and say, do not rewrite this. Do not improve it. Tell me why a seller might listen to every word of it and still not hire me. It will tell you. It is honest in a way your friends aren't and your spouse won't be. And when it answers, sit with it for a minute before you argue. The first instinct is always, that's not fair. The second instinct, about 90 seconds later, is usually, okay, that one's true. And role number 6, strategist. For when everything is tangled at once. Based on these facts, what should I do first? What should I avoid doing? And what information am I missing? That last piece, what am I missing, might be the single highest value question in this entire class. Coach, analyst, negotiator, teacher, critic, strategist. That's 6 professionals on staff, any hour of the day you want them. And not one of them types a single word until you say so. Demo 2, the shortest one, and I want every person on this call to try it this week. You've written a hard email, the kind you hover over. Your finger has been over that send button twice today. Instead of sending it, paste it in and say, do not rewrite this yet. Tell me why it may not work. What will she feel in the first 2 sentences? What am I assuming she agrees with that she may not? And it will show you that your first line is defensive, that you buried the one thing she cares about in paragraph 3, that you asked her for a decision before you ever acknowledged her frustration. Then, after you understand why it wasn't working, then you let it help you fix it. Diagnose before you medicate. Same rule as the listing. And here's what happens after you've run this a dozen times. You start hearing the critique before you write the email. That's the real product. It isn't editing your message, it's training your ear. Now let's turn all of this into a method you can run every single time. So it isn't just me telling stories on a Thursday. 6 steps, and watch them stack up. 1. Give it the situation, in plain words, the way you'd tell me in the hallway. 2. Give it the facts. The feedback, the numbers, the email thread, whatever is real. 3. Assign the role. You're my coach. You're my analyst. You're my negotiator. 4. Say what not to do. Don't write anything yet. That is the line that keeps it in thinking mode. 5. Make it question your assumptions. Ask me what you need to know. Tell me what I'm missing. 6. Ask for the next action. What do I do first? Situation, facts, role, restraint, questions, action. 6 steps, and it works identically for a stale listing, a stalled buyer, and a Zillow connection call. And when I say give it the situation, talk. Don't compose. Here's what it actually sounds like out loud. Phone in hand. Same driveway habit we built last class. My buyer's been looking for 4 months. 3rd time he's backed out the day before we write the offer. Says it's the numbers, but he does this even when the numbers work. Nice guy, I like him, but I'm spending every Saturday with him and I'm starting to wonder if I'm part of the problem. Ask me what you need to know. That took 20 seconds, and there is no prompt engineering anywhere in it. It's just honest. And the questions that come back. Is there a pattern to when he pulls back? Who else is in his ear? What happened the first time? Those are the questions a $400 an hour coach would ask you. If you can leave a voicemail, you can do this. That's the bar. Nobody on this call fails that bar. And because I know exactly how the human brain works, I've turned the whole method into one prompt you can copy, and I want to build it for you piece by piece, so you see why every line is there. Line 1. The role. You are my real estate business coach, and I'm going to describe a real situation. Line 2. The restraint. Do not immediately write an email or a script. That's the line that changes everything. Line 3. The questions. First, identify what information is missing and ask me the most important questions one at a time. Line 4. The thinking. Then help me understand the problem, challenge my assumptions, and recommend the best next step. And line 5. The writing. Dead last, on purpose. Only after that, help me prepare any communication I need. That's the whole prompt. The complete text is in your handout. Save it in your phone. Text it to yourself. It's the training wheels version. After 2 weeks, you won't need the card anymore, because this is just how you'll talk to it. So let's close the loop on our 82-day listing, because look at what that agent walks into the seller meeting with now. Not an email. A story the seller has never heard. 11 buyers, 1 objection, and it isn't price. 3 questions to ask before proposing anything, because the seller deserves to react to the pattern before she hears a recommendation. A rehearsed answer for so you want me to spend money on a kitchen, because that objection is absolutely coming. and a recommendation with the reasoning attached. What to do first, roughly what it costs, and what happens to the price conversation if she says no. And then, after the meeting goes the way prepared meetings go, yes. AI helps write the follow-up email. Writing is the last step. It was never supposed to be the first one. And think about what that meeting does for the relationship. You stop being the agent asking for another price cut, and you became the professional who brought her evidence. Same house, same market, completely different conversation. 3 traps before I turn you loose, because I have watched all 3 happen. Trap 1, trusting without checking. It is brilliant with the facts you give it, and it is confident even when it's wrong about the ones you didn't. If it quotes a number, a rule, or a contract term, you verify it before it reaches a customer. You're the licensee. It isn't. Trap 2, letting it write too early. The moment it hands you a polished paragraph, your brain relaxes and stops thinking. That is exactly why do not write yet is built into the master prompt. Trap 3, vague in, vague out. My listing isn't selling. What should I do? That gets you a magazine article. 11 pieces of feedback and a price history. That gets you a diagnosis. The quality of its thinking is set entirely by what you feed it. None of these traps are reasons not to do this, by the way. They're seatbelts. You wear them, and you drive. So here's the sentence I want you to leave with. And if you remember nothing else from 17 classes, remember this one. Don't ask AI to do your work. Ask AI to help you do better work. The agents who lose ground over the next few years are not going to lose to AI. They're going to lose to agents whose judgment gets a little sharper every single week, because those agents stopped making every decision alone. The typing was never the job. The thinking is the job. Get help with the job. Your exercise. And if we have time today, we start it live. Right now, phones out. Bring it one real problem. Not a practice one. The one that is actually bothering you this week. The seller who won't reduce. The buyer who keeps stalling. The inspection response you don't know how to answer. The listing presentation that isn't converting. The lead who went dark. The email you've been afraid to send. Start with the master prompt. Describe the situation out loud, and let it ask you questions. One rule, and I will hold you to it. It does not get to write anything until it has questioned you first. If it starts drafting, stop it. Say, not yet, keep asking. The value is in the interview. And if you're sitting there thinking your problem is too messy for this, messy is what it's best at. The tidy problems you can already solve yourself. Bring it the tangled one. Before we wrap up, stop. I want you to lock it in, right now, while it's fresh. What is your one problem this week? The real one. The one you're bringing to the interview. The screen is going to give you 5 seconds. Pick it. Got it. Good, that's the one. Now here's the week. Use it once, just once, before a real business decision. Before the price conversation. Before you answer the inspection. Before you send the email. Analysis first, writing second. And next Thursday you're going to tell me the story, in 4 sentences. What the problem was, what it noticed that you hadn't, whether it changed your thinking, and what you actually did. That last one matters most. This only counts when it turns into action with a real customer. Nobody is grading the outcome. The homework is the habit. I'll say what I say every week, because it keeps being true. Nobody catches up alone, but nobody can do this for you either. Bring me a good story next Thursday.